4 daily touchstones. And the goal here isn't to add more to your to-do list, because I know you got some things going on. You're busy. You are trying to navigate work and family, all from sheltering in place. And so the invitation here is to offer yourself some support, some touchstones that you can kind of sink into in the midst of the craziness on a daily basis. All right, so number one, let's see if I can move this piece here. There we go. Invite you to get your phone out, kind of unconventional, right, during a presentation, but I'm going to invite you to take a moment and send a gratitude text. So think for a moment, who's helped you recently? Who has made your world a little bit brighter during these difficult days? And I'm going to do it too. And so grab your phone and just send a text to somebody who you want to just thank for a moment. All right, wrap it up. Hit send. All right. So one of the ways that we can really experience a sense of connection and overall increase of resilience is through deepening our relationships. And I'm going to talk about why we did this a little bit more when we talk about connection, but it is a fast and powerful boost to your well-being. I call them my Tuesday texts, and I try to do some sort of gratitude text every Tuesday. And it's a really easy bang for your buck, because sometimes, not always, but sometimes you'll get a text back from the person being like, man, thanks, that was super helpful, or oh, I'm really grateful for you too. Sometimes you don't, but I find that not only does a text to someone open up the line of communication, it also increases a sense of well-being and connection and joy for the person who receives the text as well as for you. So we'll talk a little bit more about this one in a few moments. All right, number one, our number one in no particular order, just happened to be the first one, touchstone during these wild days is to move, right? No surprise here, right? Our bodies, they want to move. They want to bend and sweat and sway and stretch and reach and twist. But a lot of times, the ways that we used to move before this pandemic hit, maybe going to the gym, going to classes, in a running group, whatever you used to do to move your body, maybe isn't available in the way that it used to. Or you're finding that your rhythm is so thrown off that you're forgetting to move, you're forgetting to eat, you're forgetting to kind of do some of those things that maybe you had into your schedule and into your rhythm. Or you're finding that you're dealing with some injury. Your body isn't able to move like it used to. I think we have a lot of these constructs, these ideas in our head that in order to really get benefit from physical activity, we've got to sweat it out. It needs to be at least 30 minutes a day for 7 days a week. And yeah, that's great. If you're able to have a vigorous cardiovascular routine where you're moving and grooving, awesome. All power to you. A lot of times people can't. And so my invitation here is to figure out and to find ways that feel good for you to move right here, right now. We've got, through UK Health and Wellness, we've got 2 exercise physiologists on staff, both Carrie and Ryan. Some of you may know them. They are in charge of our UK Move Well. They're awesome. And they are still available for exercise consults. So maybe you're trying to figure out how in the world you can move right now in the midst of being at home. Maybe you're dealing with an injury, some lower back pain. Maybe you're recovering from knee surgery or hip pain, whatever's going on for you. Carrie and Ryan are some of the most non-judgmental, helpful, and creative individuals to really get you moving. If you are part of UK Move Well, even though our physical centers are closed, they are still offering 2 online videos Monday through Friday to kind of get you going, everything from circuits to yoga to bar class to kind of using whatever you've got around you as weights. So if you're part of the Move Well membership, check those out too. They're really, really creative and well done, and they're done, I believe, over Facebook Live. So figure out for yourself, how can you move? And it doesn't always have to be in these 30-minute increments. It's even an extra walk 3 times a day down to the mailbox, moving and grooving down your street, creating some new ways of moving. There's a lot of cool things online right now, exercise and yoga. So find out what feels good for you to move, and create space in your day to move that way, whatever that looks like, knowing that even a little bit is better than nothing. All right, number 2. Nourish. Another huge touchstone for caring for ourselves in the midst of these difficult days is to care for ourselves with what we're putting into our bodies, right? So how do you like to nourish your body? At the table and away from the table. These days are offering a new way of showing up and needing to cook from home. I'm not a huge fan of cooking. In fact, I'm not real good at it, but I'm getting more creative. So kind of figuring out, all right, what are you doing right now that's working? How are you nourishing yourself in ways that you feel good about? How could you do more of that? We also have 2 amazing dietitians, Vanessa and Karen, are through our Eat Well under the UK Health and Wellness umbrella. They offer online classes if you are looking to maybe lose some weight or eat in a different way, and want some accountability with that. They also offer Eat Well consults, and that is amazing for anybody looking to get some support with any sort of dietary concerns. Maybe you're noticing some food allergies. Maybe somebody in your household is struggling with a gluten intolerance. Maybe people want to eat more of a plant-based diet. Maybe you're looking to eat more vegetables or drink more water. What does Nourish mean to you? And once again, sometimes we have this all or nothing idea that we have to totally change the way that we eat, and it can feel big and daunting and restrictive. And what we know is that those big sweeping changes aren't sustainable and they don't last. So what are small things you can do to nourish yourself at the table? And how could our Eat Well dietitians support you to do that? Also super non-judgmental. They are really, really helpful at kind of coming up with some creative ideas, some creative meal planning, and really working with the food that you've got in your pantry, especially if you're noticing a tightening in on your budget. We've been eating a lot more dried beans lately. Oh boy. In fact, we have 6 pounds of dried beans in our pantry as we speak. I don't know why we thought we needed to buy all of those, but we've got beans to last us until the pandemic's over, I think. And Vanessa and Karen have given us some really cool ideas for how to use all of that. So think about what can you do on a daily basis? What's one small thing you can do to nourish yourself more consistently? Maybe that's hydrating, maybe that's eating more vegetables at your meals. What might that look like? What feels like it would be a nourishing first step for you? All right. Number 3, as a touchstone during these wild days, we need connection. As you're thinking about connecting in with your team, how do you care for each other as a team? How do you feel seen and heard and understood by others? How do you enjoy connecting? I know that there's been a push for a lot of FaceTime and Zoom meetings, and sometimes that can feel kind of daunting. So depending on what is most needed for you, how do you like to connect personally and professionally? One thing I've been doing a lot more lately is using a tool called Vocaroo, VOCAROO. And what it allows you to do is leave a voice message and then attach it in an email. So I find that instead of writing a super long email, and I did this with a colleague last Thursday, it was like kind of a long, complicated project we've been working on. And I knew this email was going to take me forever. And I was over emails, right? So many emails. So Vocaroo is a great tool to be able to kind of use your voice to say what you need to say, especially great for extroverts who maybe need to talk it out. Vocaroo is a way to avoid a long email and instead use it as a way of connection. Thinking about caring for yourself in the midst of this work-life connection. There are 3 or 4 therapists now are awesome. They are incredibly helpful with dealing with some of these big and difficult feelings that you may be experiencing, feeling grief and overwhelm, fear, anxiety, any of those things that are coming up for you or noticing that they may be coming up for your team members as you're checking in with them. I cannot give enough thumbs up for the therapists over through Work-Life Connection. So you get those 5 free sessions every fiscal year. They're doing them online or over the phone. So you can talk over Zoom, talk over the phone. They have helped me both personally and professionally a number of times. Same with elder care. Maybe you have got somebody in your world that you're caring for, an elder. My mother-in-law right now is in the middle stages of Alzheimer's. So that has been incredibly difficult for us to kind of navigate while we are trying to help her stay safe. So elder care has been a really, really helpful resource with ideas and webinars to connect in with yourself as well as those that you love. So also practicing boundaries. That's a big thing I work with clients to do, is setting boundaries personally and professionally. Maybe needing to set those boundaries at home. I have 2 babies. You may be able to hear them in the background. We've got twins who are 6 months old, as well as a teenager, 13-year-old, and trying to figure out those boundaries while both my husband and I are trying to do good work at home has been really, really challenging. Needing to help people figure out, okay, what is it possible for me to do today? What is it not possible to do? How do we need to set these boundaries with kids, with people that we're sheltering in place with? So if you're looking for more support to do that, that's a big piece of what my colleague Jackie Hansen and I do. She's a health coach for UK Health and Wellness, just as I am. So helping to figure out and set those boundaries, set those work routines so that you're able to connect in ways with yourself and with your team that are efficient and that are sustainable. And lastly, that 4th ingredient for really being able to have a touchstone during this time is quite simply be. Right? So amid all of the doing and the protecting and the preparing and adjusting and coping and responding and procuring, what does it look like to practice being for yourself. What tools do you have access to right now? Maybe in your toolkit, maybe something you've heard of that you want to practice that you've never ever done before, to help you recharge and reset, especially if those ways of caring for yourself aren't available. While we're all at home, what are tools that could be helpful for you? Possibly a breathing tool, a meditation app, spending time off your device, setting some boundaries for yourself of when you are plugged in and when you're unplugged. How are you caring for yourself with working with your feelings, kind of the big stuff that's bubbling up for you? One of the tools that I find to be really, really helpful with my being is to practice gratitude. There's a tool I love from the research of Dr. Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania, and he talks about 3 good things. So it's possibly some of you have had a gratitude practice in the past. This one takes it a little step further. So thinking about every night before you go to bed, what are 3 good things that have happened in your world in the day? You'll find that some of them are big, some of them are small. It varies. So let's put a smile on your face. So kind of think about what those are, write them down. We're talking like bullet list, right? Fast, fast, fast. And then take it a step further and figure out, okay, what made that thing connect in for you? Why was that time of, your kitchen dance party with your family, why was that meaningful for you? Maybe it was because it increased connection, or maybe it's because you got to play and move and laugh, right? So kind of connect that thing that you're grateful for with why it mattered. And then lastly, write it down so that a week later you can go back and remember. Because what we know about the brain is that negative emotions and negative experiences are like Velcro. They stick to the brain. It's how we're wired to survive. But positive ones slide off like Teflon. And so when we practice and have a gratitude habit, we begin to rewire our brain to look for the good. So that's a simple tool to begin to continue to help you not only practice the connection, but also remember and savor the good things that are happening for you. All right, so out of those 4 things, out of those 4 touchstones, what feels easy, right? Which of those, kind of the moving, the nourishing, the connecting, and the being, which one are you strongest in? I think it can feel a little daunting when you think like, oh man, I gotta be doing these things every day. That's not the goal here. The goal is in the beginning to pick one thing. What's that one thing you can put down on your checklist that can be helpful for you in this process, and then move up, right? So where are you the areas that maybe you need some support practicing and cultivating? So you don't have to do all of it at once, but I find that just kind of even on your daily checklist, of having, move, nourish, connect, and be down there as the goal to at least be able to check one of those things off in the day can be a really helpful thing to kind of give you some structure and some grounding in the midst of all of these difficult and wild times. So we stop our sharing here. So would love to hear from you. Where are you with that? Maybe check in and let me know what's the one that you feel like, yeah, you're doing that. You feel pretty good about it. You feel